Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Ask the Color Expert podcast. Today is another solo episode, just me, and I wanted to pop in and talk about when it's time to make a change. I thought about this topic today as I was getting ready to do a special workshop tonight with my very own friend and life coach, Alejandra Crisafulli. So, we are doing a workshop in the Hairstylist Ultimate Mentorship Program to provide some insight into pricing. It's a hot topic in our industry. We don't really know quite when or how to raise prices. There's a lot of fear around it. And I'm not going to talk about that on this podcast because when you're listening to this, that workshop has already happened. But if you haven't joined the Ultimate Mentorship, you really should think about it. It is absolutely free. It is myself and 19 other very strong, passionate mentors in the beauty industry who are volunteering their time and energy to give back to the industry that has done so much for us and has given us so much, and to level up the ability to have that sense of guidance and community that maybe we didn't have when we were starting out. So a place for people to go for inspiration, education, and really stay on track with the industry. So the reason I thought about change was when Alejandra entered into my life as my life coach. It was purely accidental. I signed up for a workshop on how to be a better public speaker. It was called Stages. It was in Newport Beach, California, which is now my absolute favorite place so far in the country that I've been to. I wanted to move there. I loved it so much. So I went to this program thinking I was going to learn how to be a better speaker. And I met Alejandra, who is a life coach, and discovered what life coaching is. I had done a little bit of traditional talk therapy with owning two salons. I certainly needed it. And I found with traditional therapy that you keep talking about your issues and it feels good to get it off your chest and share with someone else. But I found myself leaving feeling like I just dumped on someone, but I didn't get any clarity as to how to make the pain stop, how to make the circumstances go away. So when I met Alejandra, it was like the perfect storm of I signed up for this workshop because I knew I was meant for more. I had a very successful business behind my chair as a colorist, known for corrective color and all things. There wasn't a color service that I could not provide at that point in my career. And also a very successful and lucrative salon where all of my stylists are six-figure earners. So on the outside, for everyone else, it looked like, why would I want to do anything else? I already got to where I thought that I wanted to be. And that was the problem. I think I almost had guilt that I was unsettled inside and there were things stirring within me. And I was like, how dare you think that you are meant for more when you have so much? It really was a guilt thing. I was like, why do I feel this way? And it wasn't that I wanted more money. It was that I wanted more passion, connection, and excitement like I felt when I started out with my business. I am a manifesting generator. If you know anything about human design, I found out recently that I am a manifesting generator. And part of my personality from when I was born, the time and location and everything that lined up when I was born says that I'm an idea person. I like to create new things. I get really excited about new projects and new horizons, new things, everything new, shiny new object syndrome, I guess you could call it. So my goal was always to have my own salon, and I did that. And it was a small one-person salon. And then I was like, well, now I want a bigger salon, and I did that. And then I said, well, now I want two salons, and I did that. And then I wanted to start to teach, and that's why I went to that workshop. So it was about public speaking, but it was so much more. It was about how if you want the audience to engage with you and connect with you, you have to share a little bit of yourself with them and tell your personal story. So Alejandra would be on the stage, doing all the things, sharing with us, and I would get really emotional at certain times. And I couldn't understand why. It was making me a little bit crazy because I'm not a big teary person. I cry at funerals, of course, and some sad movies or happy sad movies, but I'm not really a teary person. When I'm upset, I get more angry or more exhausted and shut down, but tears, not so much. So every time she looked at me a certain way, I would be fighting back tears. So after the program, she pulled me aside and said, I see that a lot of what I'm saying is triggering you, and I'd love to offer you a free session with my life coaching. And I was like, what's life coaching? What are you even talking about? I had a therapist. I'm good. I'm fine. I was like, this woman just wants money from me. So I was very turned off by it. So I finished the program. I was very emotional the whole time. And I got back home and back to the salon. And she reached out to me maybe a week later and said, I really wish that you would take me up on that free consultation. I think that you would really benefit from it. There's a lot going on in you and you need to get that out. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. We set up the date. And long story short, I hired her as my life coach. And what life coaching does is it pushes you to figure out the stuff on your own, but you don't get let off the hook. Like if she would ask me a question and say, what do you think about this? And I would say, I don't know. And she would say, well, what would you say if you did know? Like she wasn't going away. She just kept pushing for the answer. So we did 9 months of coaching. It was a very, stressful, but amazing process. And at the end, she said, what we've come to discover is that you no longer are feeling passionate about your business. And as much as it is successful, you're ready for the next step. And she helped coach me to what the next step looked like. And it was terrifying. It involved moving to a different house. So selling the house that my children were raised in for 25 years, closing and selling my salon business and the building that is our retirement fund, and walking away from everything, we were deciding between California and Florida, but moving to another state, knowing no one at that state and starting fresh with no jobs. When she said that to me, I had a huge pit in my stomach. I felt like I was going to vomit. I got into the shower. I let the hot water beat on my head and I just sobbed. And I was like, this is way too much. I shouldn't have even started this. I kind of poked the tiger. I opened up Pandora's box and now I don't know how to close it. And she shed light on things that needed to happen, but I'm just not ready for. So I did what all of us do. And I started coming up with excuses of why this is a bad idea. I can't sell my salon because my staff is very successful and they're very happy. And how dare I take away their livelihoods because I'm unhappy. I can't move to another state because my parents are still alive. My husband's parents are still alive. Everybody else is here. I owe it to people to be around for them, yada, yada. So all the excuses. So I didn't take action right away. And I'm sharing this with you because we're all alike. We get advice from people and it sounds scary and we're like, they're crazy. I'm not listening to them. So we just keep doing what we've always done. So I was like, she's right. Things do have to change with my business. So let me do it the way I think I should do it, because we all think we're so smart. And I was like, I just want to let a little air out of the tires. It's like a big hard pimple. I just want to let a little bit of it out because it hurts, but I don't want to pick at it and leave a scar. Just a little air out of the tires. I don't want them to go flat. I just want to take some pressure out of the tire. So my plan was, I am going to go into my business and really look at the numbers. And what I realized was I was running 2 different salons under one roof. I had a lower price, get clients in, spend less time with them for a lower price. And then I had high-end luxury, take your time, charge more, make it more a boutique experience. So it was like 2 completely different salons under one roof. And the way that happened was I did a program from coaches in the salon industry, and it was very successful, but it was based on always having a new person training and always working them up the pricing structure. So it worked, but it just wasn't a good fit for me brand wise, because I was like, who are we? Are we low price? Are we medium? Or are we high priced? So I came up with the idea of letting some air out of the tires and letting half of the staff go that was a lower price and saying to them, you should open your own salon. You guys have what you need. You have all your clients. You have my blessing. I gave all of them their names and addresses of their clients and said, open your own salon. You guys are going to do great. But for me, this is too much. I've had enough. So that's what happened. They opened a salon literally across the street. That hurt a little bit, but it's fine. It all worked out. And they are thriving. They're all still together. Everything's great. And so is my staff that stayed, yada, yada. Changed the branding, did everything I could to make it mine again, make it the new, the excitement. I talked about how I like the shiny new objects. So I rebranded, I redecorated the whole salon, spent like $80,000 on a remodel, changed the name, changed my business cards, my website, spent all this money, and I'm still unhappy. Still have that pit in my stomach, still know that I need to do something different. So this is when it gets a little sad, but it's a happy ending, I promise. So I have that pit in my stomach. I know I need to do something else. And I started going live on Periscope. I started doing live saying, hi, I'm a hair color educator. I'm brand free. My name's Elaine. I hope you follow me, blah, blah, blah. And I did all of this as a side thing because I didn't think that it was enough to be my job. I thought I always needed the salon and everything that I was doing. So I'm doing all that. And now I'm even more overwhelmed because I just let go half of my staff. I have to start this whole new branding thing and be all in my business. I'm doing the little teaching on the side. I'm doing boot camps. I'm teaching at the New York show now because I went to that speaking training. I was able to get an agent who booked me at the Orlando show and then the New York show and then the Vegas show. So everything is working, right? Everything's great. I'm teaching. I have the salon. I'm like, I still have that pit in my stomach that I just don't want to do this anymore. So now my son, I'm in California and I'm filming trainings for what is now my membership for colorists, Hair Color Secrets Insiders. So I'm like, okay, I'm preparing to do this. I'm almost there to do the whole thing. And I'm recording and my son calls me and he's like, I don't feel good. He's like, I have this lump in my neck. He said, I've been worn down and I know it's probably a swollen gland, but it's bigger than I've ever had. And I'm scared. And I said, go to the doctor, see what they say. So he couldn't get in with his regular doctor. So he went to urgent care. The Eagles had just won the Super Bowl. It was the first time in a long time. He was in Philadelphia. He lives in Florida. So he's in college. He's like a freshman, I think, in college, or maybe beginning of sophomore year. I forget. I should remember. It was a very important, awful time. But he has this lump. He goes to urgent care, and the girl who sees him is speaking to him like he's really in trouble, like he's really sick. And he's like, Mom, she was weirding me out. She was like putting her hand on my shoulder, telling me it's going to be okay. And he's like, I'm thinking she's going to give me an antibiotic and send me on my way. I just have a sore throat. He had always had problems with his tonsils. So I was praying to every God there is that it just be tonsillitis and he just needed his tonsils out. So that was not the case. He went to his doctor. She sent him to a specialist who, by this point, I'm flying home to go, or no, I'm living here. I'm sorry. I'm still living in Philadelphia. So I'm going to flying him home to go to a specialist at Penn in Philadelphia to see what this is. And we're in the office and the doctor says, lymphoma, the word lymphoma, like 3 times. And I now can't feel my fingers. I can't feel my toes. The room is spinning. I'm in like a cold sweat. And he's saying, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure that this is possibly lymphoma and you have to be prepared for that. And yada, yada. And my son's, 19 years old and he's sitting up on the table and he's like, Doc, am I going to have like a bad scar here after the surgery? Like he's thinking, I just got to get this lump out and I'm fine. I don't know what he was thinking, but he didn't think that lymphoma was as scary as I did. So I excuse myself. I go in the bathroom. I lose it. I don't want to lose it in front of my son. Come back in. I'm trying to compose myself. And the doctor continues to talk about the course of action, surgery. I hear all the words, the room's spinning. I'm a mess. He is still super calm. So we got in the car and he's like, oh, we're near my favorite restaurant. Can we go get that sandwich that I like and a big piece of chocolate cake? Still not getting it. I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm thinking you can have anything you want because this is not good. So we go to dinner and, I can't eat anything. He's like totally fine. Fast forward, we have the surgery. He has the lump out. The doctor's like, I met with a bunch of other doctors. We all looked over it and it's like 90% sure that it is lymphoma. So I lose it. I'm bawling the entire time he's under getting the surgery. I'm crying my eyeballs out. And I'm sitting there in the waiting room waiting for him to come out. And of course, I make the mistake of Googling lymphoma on a 19-year-old, and it said, best case scenario, 7 years. So he's 19 years old, and it's saying the longest he could possibly live is 7 more years. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't even believe this is happening. So as I'm sitting there, to get past the puffy eyes and the hysteria, I say, you know what? He's a great kid. He loves to travel. So do I. Like, if he has 7 years left, these are going to be the best 7 years he's ever had. Any person has ever had, from 19 to however long I have him. I am walking away from that business. I will sell my house. I will get rid of the business. I will sell the building. I will do anything to spend the next 7 years doing everything possible to have him have the best, whatever's left of his life happen. Wherever he wants to go, Africa, Australia, New Zealand, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What car do you want? What is your dream? What do you want? You can have it. And thank God it was a mistake and he did not have lymphoma. He said to me, actually, I have to back up. So when the doctor told him he could possibly have lymphoma and we were on our way to that dinner, he said to me, you know what, Mom? It's a good thing you raised $25,000 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society a couple of years ago. We never would have known that we would need it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I volunteered to raise money for the Lymphoma and Leukemia Society. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't have any family members that had it. They asked me if I would raise money for them. And I was like, sure, I'll do my best. And by myself, I raised $25,000. And I was really proud of that. And I was glad that it helped families that are dealing with it. It was money that, when family is having surgery, they can help, put up the families in hotels or whatever. So he thought of that and he was proud of me that I did that. And I was like, talk about karma. Now I'm going to need the Lymphoma and Leukemia Society, and never thought that I would. And I did that out of kindness and out of just a giving mentality, knowing that, what you give, you get, and energy and all that. So thank God I didn't need it, but he pointed that out. And I thought that was great that he understood that. So thank God we got a positive outcome. And, I just said to the doctor, like, in the future, can you, not give people that no hope feeling before the surgery? Like, wait until you know for sure, because that was not okay what you did. Like, that really was awful to go through that. It was a whole week before we knew. And the recovery from the surgery and all of that. And why am I sharing this with you? Yes, it's a sad story, but it's a happy ending. And it took thinking that my son was going to die for me to make the decision to make my life better. I had the life coach tell me that this is what we agreed through the work that we did together. She wasn't putting that on me because that was her dream or her wish. She could see crystal clear what my dreams were, and I couldn't see them, because what all I see is the obstacles of, I can't because of my parents. I can't because of my siblings. I can't because of my kids. I can't because of my employees. You can, and you should. Don't let it take a cancer diagnosis or a possible cancer diagnosis to get you to live your best life. I am so grateful that that happened. In hindsight, of course, that it wasn't a bad outcome, but that was the big, gigantic, big wake up call that I, Miss Manifesting Generator, apparently needed. God knew, let me do something to one of her kids, and not do something, I shouldn't say that, but let me, let something scare her for her cubs, and she will see it, because clearly she's not putting herself in the same regard and respect as she does for others. So let me hit her where it'll get her attention. And it worked. It definitely worked. And I've never been the same person since. So at the risk of making this a 10-hour podcast, the theme of this episode is, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for your own diagnosis of a life-threatening illness? Are you waiting until you lose 20 more pounds to go on that vacation? Screw that. Nobody cares what you look like in a bathing suit but you. Nobody's judging you for your body or what you look like. They're looking at you saying she's living her best life in this beautiful environment. And if they're not thinking that, they're people that you shouldn't care what they think about anyway. So don't wait until you have enough money. Don't wait until you lose enough weight. Don't wait until someone gives you permission or you win a trip, because then, oh, you won't feel guilty if you want it. I catch myself saying things like, oh, I'm only doing that because it was on sale. I'm only getting that because it was on sale, or I'm only getting that because it was so cheap. And that's my money story that I'm still working on. So we all have a money story we need to work on. We all have things that we want to do that we're letting fear hold us back. And I can tell you, as someone who's living on the other side of that fear in a place where it is sunny 360 days a year, I wake up, I'm looking out the window right now to palm trees, beautiful sunshine, and my gorgeous in-ground pool. Every journal that I have to the left of me on my massive bookshelf is, I just want to live at the beach with a pool in my yard. I just want to live where I can at least walk to the beach. I don't have to live on the beach. I wasn't going for the $1 billion place on the beach. I said, I want to be able to walk to the beach, walk on the beach every day, and have a pool in my yard. They're not really crazy aspirations, but that was important to me. And it took me 53 years to get it. It shouldn't take you 53 years to get it. And it shouldn't have taken me 53 years to get it, but everything happens as it should. And I do believe that. And I'm happy that I'm here now and I'm super grateful. So again, don't wait until the giant brook hits you in the head. Listen to those little stirs in your belly, those little butterflies, those little gut reactions to things. That is your body and your soul purpose telling you that you're meant for more. So I hope you get your more, and I hope it doesn't involve a scary, um, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Diagnosis for you or your loved ones. I hope that you love yourself enough to get there on your own. And if you ever need help, I am happy to be your coach. You can find me at Expert Color Solutions with an S.com anytime. I am Expert Color Solutions on Facebook, Expert Color Solutions on Instagram. And of course, I have my YouTube channel that is under my name, Elaine Travis. I hope to see you in one of my classes or workshops soon. And thanks as always for listening. And I will see you on the next one.